Wow! What a treat there! Got a fuck treat! Oh shit! ENGWE M20 Cafe Racer style e-bike. ENGWE offered this to me a few weeks back. I was umming and ahhing because I've been offered several e-bikes in the channel on the past and I've always said no. But these guys were quite cool. They said to me, there's no script, there's no agreement. Basically, we want someone to take it out in the outdoors environment because we've got lots of urban based reviews around cities, but not really many people taking it out into the woods, etc. So there's no script. I'm not going to make this out to be anything better than it is, and there's already certain things I don't like about it. I'll be brutally honest, I only do unscripted reviews on this channel. It's got a bit of an identity crisis. It looks more like a motorbike than an e-bike, and we'll talk about it shortly, but this thing definitely fringes the legalities here in the UK. But I've enabled certain features that would make this illegal, but you can disable them. I'll talk about that as we go. She's a dual battery 25 amp hour configuration. You can either have one battery or both batteries. You don't have to have them both, and they're removable, so you can charge them at work and steal electricity like most people. Comes with these BMX handlebars. So it came in a box, basically, one large box. I'm not going to do much of an assembly or unboxing review, but all they had to do was connect the wheels, connect the pedals, put the handlebars on, put the headlights on. There was a quality control issue though. My brakes were the wrong way around. So this one here was activating the rear brake and this side was activating the front brake, which is completely non-standard. So these, which are designed in California but somewhat assembled in China, that should have been checked. I have since swapped it around, but like I said, I'm going to be brutally honest. It's got Shimano 7-speed gears. It works quite well. As you can see in the back here, the derailleur, etc., that all came assembled. If you're asking my honest opinion, this thing's only got pedals to make it legal. It's basically a moped. You don't need the pedals. It's got dual suspension, so it's got a shock on the rear here. It's also got a shock here. The compression of this is actually pretty good. Certainly coming through here before, it was all right. It's a fat bike with 20-inch wheels. I put 20 PSI in those as per the manual. The manual, by the way, it's pretty good if you're assembling it, but I do like a fat bike. Here on the channel, the use for this will be in the outdoors if it's up to the job. Wild camping, taking it out into these sort of environments. The dual LED headlight's pretty cool. It's quite adjustable, these 3 bolts here, but that's like the daylight running light. And if I just use this switch up here, that's the on switch, there's your lights. I tested them out at night, they're actually pretty good. All this is metal. I don't know if it's stainless steel or aluminium, I'm not entirely sure, but I've only ever seen plastic on these ones before. And it has a brake light. And if you put your lights on, you got a rear stopper with a brake light integrated. The seat, it seems quite comfortable, but I don't know what it would be like over a longer ride, if I'm honest. I'll have to put it to the test. This is just a first look video. But this here, I'll put the size of it on the screen, but it's not adjustable. So if you're 6'4", you're probably going to look like a cartoon character riding this thing. Likewise, if you're a hobbit, you might struggle. I'm just under 6 foot and it fits me fine. This little display is pretty cool. Don't know how well you can see it there. It's nicely positioned. I've set it up for miles per hour. It does your kilometers. I've done 5 miles today so far. I only ever use it on 5 because what's the point? The horn, by the way, check this out. Don't know where that's coming from. It's coming from down here somewhere. That's hilarious. Other than that, I think I've covered it. The battery's charging about 4 hours. Yeah, you can reverse charge. So if you need to charge your phone, if your phone's up here, you can do. Seem pretty well set up actually. The pedals, there's no real grip on them. So like I say, I do think this is more designed for the urban environment, not the outdoors environment. I've slipped off them a couple of times out here. The rear shock seems all right. It's not going to blow your mind, but it seems a pretty standard size. I'm sure that's quite an easily upgradable item. Onto the brakes then. These are mechanical brakes, so they're not hydraulic. They're just cable driven onto like 160mm rotors. Surprises me that they're mechanical. I would have thought a bike that can do 28-30 mile an hour should have hydraulic brakes. I have looked, you can upgrade these from AliExpress for about 40 quid if you want to do so. I think I will, but we'll do a brake test while we're out here today as well. And you got this snazzy side stand, which actually is adjustable and isn't too bad, although I have clouted it off a few things. I like the colour scheme of this. There's 3 colourways, I think. There's a white one, all black, and this, but this with a tan seat for me, big fan. So let's take it for a rip, shall we? I already had one little crash on the way in, but that was my own fault. I just lost the front end. That's more rider skill than anything else. 16 mile an hour according to this. Back end just went on it. Whoa. Struggling a bit up this hill. Whoa. Fat tyres aren't bad. Oh, shit. Bit of a delay in the motor, but it gets there eventually. Like I say, that short wheelbase is pretty good between the trees, going through the gaps. Whoa, she's a bit snappy though. She's fast, mate. She shifts, boy. Whoa, something sounded like it snapped off then. Don't know what that was. Whoa. Tell you what, the pedals are awful. Slipping all over the place right through this muddy area. Whoa. What a treat there. Oh, fuck treat. Ah, shit. Right. Yeah, I got a bit squirrely through that water patch there. And as I came out, I was sideways. And unfortunately, just clipped that thing. But she seems all right. So we're going to do an urban brake test in this area here. As you can see, it's fairly loose ground. Going to come through these trees, round here, build a bit of speed up and hit the brakes round about this tree here. So I've got my angle positioned up round about here. We are recording. Not bad. Well, I'm not sure that rear shock does much. Quite bumpy in here, and I've been really feeling it. Struggling on the climbs a little bit as well. Speed test. I've got this app. I'll hit screen record. Hopefully, put it in my pocket and it works. She's fast. She is fast. I could do that on a roadie down here, to be fair. Fucking hell, 34 mile an hour. So this thing here has got a twist grip throttle, so you can twist that and the bike will just go like a motorbike. You can disable it in the firmware. Because we're not in an urban environment, I've just enabled it purely for this first look video. That's not something I personally will use. These should be limited to 15 miles per hour in the UK, I believe. Be responsible with something like this. If you do buy this bike and you go caning down your local high street. Test, 24 mile an hour. Oh, smells like she's on fire. That's the brakes. Okay, so I did a further 10 miles there. So I'm going to give you my honest appraisal after this first look. Tell you what I don't like. Off the bat, I don't think it is designed as a proper hardcore off-road machine. Now, I'm not by any means a professional cyclist or anything like that. You can tell straight away the handlebars are bent and they were super tight. I pre-check everything. They were tight. So as they've bent back, obviously, then the levers have gone up. The brakes, on the initial stop tests I did, they were fine, but on the longer rides, I really got some pretty horrific brake fade, and the smell of the brakes was unreal. Had to look down. I thought my batteries were on fire at one point, but it is a lot of fun. That rear shocker doesn't appear to do anything. My tail end feels as you would imagine when your shocker doesn't do anything. Stand by. There we go. It's better. Might have been bothering somebody. No issues with the gear selectors. Other than that, hey, how are we doing? Yeah, all the derailleur and that had no issues changing gear. spot on, to be honest. Still got loads of juice left in it as well. That battery there has just gone down to 1 and it hasn't transferred over. I think it uses one battery then jumps to the next. Other than that, the front forks, good compression, really felt those. The short wheelbase is twitchy. It's good fun, I'm not gonna lie, but when you're in the trees, it's like that, you know, you're sliding. And the throttle, as you can see, that will be getting disabled. It's quite twitchy as well. You can just, as you reach for the brake, you might pull the throttle back in between. It's either on or it's off. It's like a switch. It's not really like that hydraulic feel like you would expect. Yep, no issues with the gears. I really quite like the display. Yeah, there you go, reset it and I've done a 7.9 miles on the way back there. The horn's pathetic, as you would expect. But the bike's held up well. It seems really durable. I will tighten these up a bit better. That might have been me, but they were super tight. Put hydraulic brakes on from somewhere like AliExpress and replacing that shock, you probably spend the best part of £80 and it would be good. And these pedals, yeah, there's no grip on them. They're absolutely shocking. I was sliding off them all over the place. And yeah, I did bounce it off a few trees and she stood up fairly well. Other than that, which would be just these screws need tightening up. Yeah, and yeah, someone will notice I haven't pulled the film off the headlights. A few final considerations. This is a lot of fun. I do like it. I will use it on a future camping video for sure. You'll see it a little bit more on the channel. Completely unbiased, honest first look of this bike. One thing to bear in mind, like I said, I think it is built quite well, but if you're one of those people get your mountain bike serviced at a bike shop, I think if I tipped up to my local bike shop with this, they'd probably refuse it because it's just a bit unusual. They'd probably refuse to work on it, but I might be wrong. All the settings, you can change it back to make it fully legal in the UK. I would not be riding this anywhere near the high street. That would get disabled and it would get de-restricted down to 15 mile an hour, which is the limit. What it should be. You want to go, do you? Yeah, I bet you do. Anyway, I'll see you on the next video, guys. All the best.